Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we are diving deep into a terrifying real-life experience submitted by a young man named Abil. Abil was stuck in America due to the pandemic, staying with his aunt in Connecticut. Trust me, Connecticut is the last place you want to be if you're looking for a peaceful time. It's often called the haunted state for a reason. Its history is soaked in dark events, from brutal wars to the unsettling fact that the first documented witch trial in America took place here, long before Salem. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, the famous Annabelle Doll Museum, run by Ed and Lorraine Warren, is also located in this state. So, the atmosphere is heavy. The story begins on October 31st, 2021, Halloween night. Abil and 5 of his friends, Luke, Samantha, Jack Antonio, and Megan were heading to Luke's campus for a huge Halloween celebration. Luke decided to take a shortcut, a long, winding forest road that was pitch black, secluded, and known for being unsettling. As they drove, the atmosphere felt wrong. The sky was an unnerving shade of dark gray, and a penetrating chemical smell of rotting vegetation filled the air. Then, just as the tension peaked, disaster struck. The car sputtered and died. They were out of gas, stranded in the middle of this menacing shortcut. As they tried to figure out what to do, they peered out the window and froze. They hadn't broken down just anywhere. They were parked right beside the tall, rusted iron gates of Evergreen Cemetery, notorious throughout Connecticut for its high level of paranormal activity. Panic was starting to set in. Abil managed to call a friend, Lisbeth, who was also heading to the party with her brother, Caleb. Lisbeth said she had just passed their car moments ago and had honked, but none of them responded. Abil and his friends immediately felt a cold dread, because they hadn't seen or heard any car pass by them. Lisbeth and Caleb promised to send help. While waiting, they sat huddled in the dark car. Suddenly, Luke grabbed Abil's arm and pointed. Walking slowly from the shadows of the tombstones was a figure. A pale woman in what looked like very old, dirt-caked clothing. Samantha gasped and whispered the name that sends shivers down the spine of anyone in Connecticut. Midnight Mary. She explained the chilling urban legend of Mariella, who in 1872 was mistakenly pronounced dead from a stroke and buried alive. When her grave was later dug up, they found her fingernails bloody from desperately clawing the inside of her coffin. According to the legend, Midnight Mary will haunt anyone who trespasses near her grave after the clock strikes 12. They remembered the chilling inscription on her headstone, warning that people will be troubled at midnight. Seeing the figure approaching, Antonio completely lost it. He panicked, screaming as he flung open the door and bolted into the night. One by one, fear overtook the group, and they all scattered, running blindly into the dark, silent cemetery grounds. Abil eventually managed to find Antonio, Megan, and Samantha. They decided the safest place was back in the car, where they found Luke and Jack already waiting, pale and shaken. They checked the car again, hoping for a simple fix, but discovered the fuel tank had been intentionally punctured. Someone, or something, didn't want them to leave. Desperate, Abil and Antonio went back out to search the roadside for anything they could use to patch the tank. Antonio suddenly became frantic, grabbing a scrap of white cloth from the ground. Then, Abil saw it. A strange, flickering light deep within the dense tree line. Antonio grabbed Abil, his voice tight with terror, and whispered that they had to leave immediately before they found them. He urged Abil not to turn around, even as they heard a chilling, muffled call from behind them, echoing their names. But Abil couldn't resist. He risked a quick glance back. Standing on the edge of the cemetery, observing them, were 2 towering figures cloaked entirely in heavy black robes. They had no distinguishable features, just dark silhouettes against the gloom. Abil didn't need to see more. They sprinted back to the car with the makeshift patch. Just as they reached the vehicle, salvation arrived. Lisbeth and Caleb drove up, but they weren't alone. They were followed by a police cruiser. Lisbeth rushed out, explaining that she and Caleb had driven that stretch of road 7 times since she last called, but had not seen their car once, and their phones went unanswered. Fearing they had vanished, she called the police, a move that likely saved them. The police presence immediately made the robed figures disappear, and the chilling atmosphere began to lift. days later, after the trauma subsided, Antonio revealed why he was so scared. He explained that his uncle had a similar experience at Evergreen Cemetery years ago. Antonio believed the figures Abil saw were not just ghosts, but real people witches or cult members who frequented the cemetery to perform dark rituals and seek sacrifices, especially on potent nights like Halloween. Abil and his friends were nothing more than potential victims. Abil vowed that the moment he could, he would leave Connecticut and never look back. It just goes to show you that in a state like Connecticut, even trying to enjoy a simple holiday can turn into a horrifying fight for survival against the darkest forces.